Alrighty, everybody. According to Google Hangouts, we are live. Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching RPG Enlightenment. Today is going to be our second session of a homebrew-ish kind of campaign that I started with some lovely players. So I will let them introduce themselves, let them introduce their characters, and say whatever they want. Let's just go simply from my left to right. So, Brandon.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon. I'm playing Katra, the Kobold Rogue.
Cameron.
I'm Cameron. I'm playing Gorch the Useless, a Goblin Warlock.
Carol.
Hi, I'm Carol. I'm playing Nala, known as Sparky, who is a barbarian Goliath.
And last but not least, Megan.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan, and tonight I will be playing Two River, who is a Tabaxi bard.
All right, and we had one of our players volunteer, rather unwillingly, but volunteer nonetheless, to give our recap of last time's session. So, Megan, if you want to go ahead and give a recap real quick, that would be awesome.
All right, so we started out receiving a letter from. We were summoned by this man named Lucian, who is part of the Mages Guild, and he paid us to try and find a adamantine ingot for something that he needed to do. He was very mysterious and cryptic, and so we four adventurers set out. We didn't get too far until we were stopped by some very angry trees, and that we managed to finagle our way through and out of. And then upon our journeys, we made camp, and we awoke to these living vines type of thing that attacked us, and we defeated them. Some of us almost died, but it turns out that this, was all a very, very odd dream, though, we still felt maybe the ravages of the fight, but none of the evidence was left. And then we went on and we discovered a town, the town of Muldor, I believe, and that's where we left off. We convinced them to let us in, and in we go.
Thank you so much for that. So today is a special day. So let's see. Who haven't I heard from much today? Brandon. Is it morning, noon, or night?
I'm going to say it's late afternoon.
Okay. So sun's not at its highest point, but it's definitely seems to be at that awkward hour where the shadows start to become longer. As you guys had entered the city, you had seen it for its utter structural beauty. Even anyone who is not really familiar with, architecture or anything that remotely seems civilized, big town, no matter what, everyone is awestruck at the structural architecture. And as you guys kind of entered, you hear the bustling and laughing of children running around playing in the streets. The clouds occasionally giving that comfort shade amidst the hot sun. The mountains that line the area of where you are at some of the highest peaks that you guys have ever actually dealt with or encountered. You are greeted by a rather short dwarf, probably 3.5 feet tall. This dwarf, for the most part, catches all of you guys off guard. His apparel being somewhat of a noble, yet tattered and probably broken apart, almost as if he has been around for a very long time, but was either kicked out of the kingdom or positioned somewhere where he wouldn't be of hassle for the kingdom. He walks up to all of you, and probably while you guys were staring off, he catches you off guard. As he's standing behind all of you, his feet kind of clack together as his heels tap against each other. And he says, "Adieu. What brings you to the great city of Moldor?" And he kind of like enunciates this at such a love-filled tone. Are you guys talking to him, or are you guys going to just ignore him?
Well, Nala will turn around with her usual sort of burning curiosity and look at this dwarf way down there from her perspective, because she's very tall. And she says, "Hello, dwarf. I'm Nala. Who are you?"
I go by many names in this city. Those that cross the kingdom call me the Executioner, but most refer to me as Daryl. I have been positioned here by the king himself to overlook those who come into his great walls that protect us.
Very nice. She's not really quite sure what to say to this dwarf, and she looks around at her friends.
Are there any market stalls or anything nearby?
You can definitely hear that off in the distance. You hear a lot of people, but as to whether or not you'd see like a cart with someone selling stuff, probably not. It is a bustling little area, and granted, you guys are just barely entering the city, so it seems to be more like, kind of as you look around, you probably see a lot more people with like tattered clothes that seem to have been ripped, definitely have been like restitched a couple times. They don't necessarily seem like the most lavish of the people there.
Katra will look at him and just kind of say, we have business. We're king?
Oh, the great king, filled with such grace for his people. He kind of starts to point off to his right, lies in the beautiful palace, built as one of the first buildings after we had destructed this great mountain to engulf us into its warmth. And the building itself, you see, has very high points in it, very I'm trying to actually think of the architectural word for it, but it's when it's like utterly smooth, flawless. I can't remember, but pretty much it just looks gorgeous. Like it's had plenty of time to settle in with the surrounding areas, and it's definitely an immaculate site.
So, hearing what he's saying and kind of like boasting about all of this, Katra is going to kind of point over to the people who are not dressed as well and just ask him, are they part of tribe?
Tribe. and he kind of like puts his head down and he's just like, my dear sir, you are in Muldor. What part of the city says tribe to you? You are simply looking at the workers, the ones who tend to have too many kids without controlling the urges.
So you work to make it better for them?
Of sorts. I simply contain their primitive ways that go against the dwarven rules.
At all of this sort of snobbishness, Nala just kind of looks at him and gives him a glare from her 7.5 feet tall. Doesn't say anything.
At this point, Two Rivers is kind of like, and she's picking her teeth with one of the claws, and she just kind of like looks at him. Yes, this is all very stony and fun, but we would like to see your king. Is that a possibility?
The king. Oh, what a grace he is. You know, without him, I wouldn't be here. And he kind of goes on this like probably like 5-minute tangent about how good the king is, and like saying different things that to maybe not necessarily change the conversation, but limit the amount of times you ask him about it. He says, but the king is very busy. You'd actually have to go through his god in order to even have a chance at seeing him. But alas, you guys have traveled a long way. Care for a drink? I know a place.
Nala looks at him. I think I would rather speak with this guard. And she's standing up quite tall and looking rather intimidating, I would think. And she fiddles with the dragon claw that she wears on a thong around her neck.
Yeah, as totally. You seem like such a pleasure to be around, especially when there's drink involved. But I agree with my tall friend here. If you could point us to the guard, that would be splendid.
Oh, you want to talk to the god? You are no better than the rest of them. Fine. He's on the other side of the city. In order for you to get to them, I will have to escort you through the city. And he kind of starts to move his hand a little bit more. And you can kind of see him rub his thumb against his, middle finger and his index finger, pretty much subliminally asking for some sort of payment.
Gorch will step up toward him and say, "Wow, that'd be a long walk. You probably get hungry doing that. Here, have a snack." And he reaches into his pouch and pulls out a couple of nice...
You cut out there for a minute.
Yeah, right at the end. A couple of nice something.
Yeah, okay. I was just like, did my headphones die? Or yeah, no, I didn't hear anything after pull out, and that was it.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, my mic, the like indicator was flipping out on the edge there. He'll hand him a couple of like juicy grubs.
And as you hold out these grubs, he kind of sees them as they're still alive, like crawling over your hand, but it's that weird thing where it like only stays on the hand, like they'll come up to like the wrist area, but somehow they end up going a different way. And he'll kind of like reach out and like touch one, and he's just like, no, thanks, but I can escort you for a small fee.
Well, I'm sure that Gorge here has many of those little maggots, if that would please you to... Would that be sufficient? Or, I mean, you could just ask, and she would, like, kind of tilt her head up to Nala. Maybe you'd like to talk to her about the price. I'm sure she'd be more than willing to negotiate.
Nala gives a great big sort of toothy red-haired smile at him. Perhaps you want to pay us for getting out of your way.
And as Two Rivers kind of points out Nala's height and whatnot, remarkably, you see him begin to grin. It almost doesn't seem to scare him, but rather tantalize him.
Perhaps.
I would not necessarily mind a rather private discussion with you.
She looks at him and says, but if you're too weak to walk across the city, I suppose I could carry you.
And he kind of like, you can see like the goosebumps, coming along his arms, and his hair like towards his elbow seems to be slightly like braided from how long it is. That sounds tantalizingly. No. Just 5 gold.
I have a question. Does he by chance have a coin purse that's visible on his belt?
Coin purse that is visible on his belt. He has a lot of things on his belt. You can definitely see like smithing tools and things like that. Everything kind of like a utility belt. So everything is kind of the same size, same pretty much like every pocket looks the exact same. So there's a chance if you want to maybe try to do something, you just have to let me know.
I think I'm going to try and, while he's distracted by Nala, I'm going to see if I can nick some gold off him.
All right, so there are 6 visible pockets. One of which you can obviously tell has some sort of utility hammer in it. So which one of the 6 would you like to try to pick a pocket?
Is there one that looks heavier, that's got a bit of a bulge to it?
The one with the hammer.
Other than the hammer. Or are they all pretty similar?
They're all pretty similar. The only one that really makes any sort of stands out at any point is the one that has the hammer that's in it, or smithing sort of tool.
So, and here's a question also. If he goes to pick a pocket, kind of guessing, understanding what he's going to try to do, can Nala, like, help him, like, to gain an advantage by particularly looming over the dwarf or distracting him in some way?
So you can distract with either a performance or deception.
I think what Carol's saying is that she just wants to give him advantage, right?
Yeah, with a helping
In his
action.
stealth roll.
Sure.
And then he would have advantage on the roll. So I would just role play that by her kind of looming over the dwarf and maybe talking to him a little bit as her friend does what he does.
But I believe you all have disadvantage, no, from exhaustion. So then that would put him at just a regular roll.
Right. That would be worth it.
That's still worth it. All right, I'm going to go for the pouch that's furthest from the hammer. If that makes sense on him.
Okay. So you're picking their pocket on the right. Okay.
26.
All right. So as you stick your hand into that pocket, you can feel something, but it's not coins.
That's mine now, whatever it is.
Doesn't feel like coins at all, actually. It's a rather awkward shape. And as you kind of try to pull it out, it begins to like melt in your hands. And as you pull it out, tell me, are you using light pressure or heavy pressure when you like try to yank it out?
Probably light pressure. If I get a lot of resistance, I'll let go. So I don't want to tip him off.
Mm-hmm. So you're able to pull it out, and as it pulls out, it's almost like a jelly. And it's kind of like, as you, like, I'm almost using like the claw type thing where you're like pulling it out with the 3 fingers, and it just begins to like extend. It's not creating any resistance. It's not like anything, but it just seems to keep going and going. Like the more you pull out, like the longer, like the ooze between the two, like gets.
All right, I'll just let go and let it flop and kind of walk away.
And as you kind of try to let go, it still begins, like as you separate, it's like still on your 3 fingers. Like it just simply extended more as you tried to like let go. And as it kind of begins to extend, and I almost imagine like you shaking your arm a little bit, trying to like be, like somewhat sneaky about it. It's just like creating like the ooze or whatever to like ripple effect as you guys shake your arm, and it like whips the guy in like his side. and like without hesitation, like you can see his face, and it went from like this happy, cheery person, whatever. And with every like degree, like his face drops as he just stares you into the eyes. And as he looks down at your hand, I almost imagine as he like was looking down, you tried to do one last like flip of it to like get it off so that way you can plead something. He shakes his head. After everything that I was willing to do for you.
You mean like take our money?
Ah, but you see, and he like has this really high-pitched whistle when it goes off, and the ooze begins to shake and it detaches from your fingers, and you realize that the ooze had actually went all the way down to that second knuckle on your fingers. It kind of like slithers back into that little pouch. The ba that I was going to take you, the tavern of which I spoke, is the king's ba. He owns and runs the ba. But alas, you disrespect me, His Highness, and the people of Moldor. For what? A bit of sticky fingers? As he kind of laughs over at Katra, his fingers like making that like ripping noise from like the ooze like sticking to it.
And at
Give
this,
me one reason why I should help.
Two Rivers would just like kind of step in, look to Katra and just look back at the dwarf and just, I'm sure this was all just a simple misunderstanding, right, Katra? Maybe a piece of what is it? Maybe a piece of sap. Maybe that's what he thought, and he was just trying to do the favor of getting it off your fine, fine garment, I must say. Here, listen. And she just kind of like claps him on the shoulders, and we are just simple travelers. We just want to do what we need to do. Let's put this whole thing behind us. What if we give you and maybe a kiss from the lovely lady, and then we'll be on your way. We'll be out of your hair.
And kind of at this, he kind of looks down and the anger and frustration kind of like leaves his face to this neither happy nor sad type of face as he kind of just straight face looks up at Nala.
Nala gives Two Rivers a bit of a glare too.
So, what do you say? Does that sound reasonable?
Well, what does the beauty say?
And Two Rivers would kind of like look at Nala just like I may have a plan look.
And Nala gives her the okay, but you're gonna owe me look. And she looks at the dwarf. I could, if he was going to introduce us to the guard favorably, possibly.
And at this, he begins to smile. And he looks back at you two, Rivers. On the cheek or the mouth?
Oh, I cannot say what you take me for someone who... That would be up to the lady for sure. If you were a true gentleman. Which I know you are.
So at this, his smile widens greatly, like almost like the cartoonish Grinch when he smiles, and it just like creates even that big thing, and looks up at Nala.
She very regally holds out her hand to allow him to kiss it. I'm sure you're the gentleman. Yes.
And at this, he begins to, like, back of the arm, lift up his hand. And it almost doesn't even reach. Like, I almost imagine, like, he has to, like, interlock his, like, fingers and, like, pull you down a little bit into your hand to kiss it. And he simply grabs it with both of his hands and kisses it rather softly, staring into your eyes and along the skin of your arm. Fine, I will take you.
Nala gives him a nod. She appreciates the fact that he's being reasonably gracious about this because he's a little creepy.
And so you guys end up walking through a lot of the different city. You can tell in certain aspects the stonework begins to crack and fade. The streets themselves lining with dirt and cement that sharper than any sword that you guys can see to the points of these rocks. Warehouses emptied. It seems that they bear the same insignia that was on the front of the gate, but it's tattered, falling apart. And then you guys enter a rather maybe middle class type area. The shops, you kind of enter the shop area. The alleys lining between the shops. And inside one of the alleys, you see a woman, long cloaked, asking for a handout. A small little table lined out with amber spherical ball, perfectly rounded. And all of you get a strong pain in your chest as you see this person. Are you guys going to just ignore the pain? Shall I continue?
Nala's going to look probably at Two Rivers. What is that? Or maybe the dwarf. What is that? Explain.
And as you all kind of look at him for some sort of answer, and he follows the lining of your arm in the direction of which it points. And he says, "What is what?" "There's a man taking out his garbage. And as you all kind of look back at, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? No one's there. The shop to the left doesn't seem to have anyone, neither does the shop to the right. Everybody seems just the way they were. And he says, nonetheless, let's continue. And you end up going in.
So Two Rivers would just kind of like talk back to her other companions and just say, "Oh, I don't like this place. Should get in and out of here as quick as we can."
Nala nods at that.
Katra will nod kind of absentmindedly and keep following along.
What a wonderful city this is, and it almost seems instantaneous, even though you've kind of been seeing it for maybe the last 100 to 200 yards. In the midst of the stone that's cracked and kind of seems to be at least somewhat well maintained, you begin to see patches of green along that 200, but it doesn't pay you any mind. And as you enter this rather large, almost seeming to be round area, it's almost a ginormous half circle, you are engulfed in luxurious green grass. The floral arrangements and like the way that they trim the hedges and everything is just so immaculate to the eye. You seem to have entered the king's lavish court. And he says, "This is our humble tribute to our king." And as he kind of like points out to some of the hedges trimmed in different points in time, but all showing like someone who seems familiar throughout all of them, but they all look completely different. And he says, just ahead, we're almost there. And you guys continue through the king's luxury court to a rather awkward wall. The stonework, for the first time ever, seems to be broken in certain areas, almost like seaming. And as he claps his hands, the stonework falls. And inside you hear laughter and a couple glass breaking against the floor. You see everything candlelit, chandeliers of candles lining the roof of this area. The table's not made of just normal wood. They seem to be hand cut, hand carved. All seem to be new. They don't seem to have the age work that most tables do. Everything seems to be top of the line. The glasses themselves aren't the normal wood that you're used to drinking beer of. They're all stone lined with gold. Welcome, adventurers, to the Leaping Stag. What are you guys doing? You guys gonna go in?
Yeah, I think Two Rivers would be following and going in and just kind of looking around, trying to hide her awe of this place, but probably not doing a very good job of it.
Nala would just be looking around. She finds this all really quite amazing. It's not how Goliath live in their quiet little houses, houses up in the wilderness. Her parents were very primitive by choice. That's they like to live a very quiet life, and she just thinks this is very strange. She's not that impressed by it. It's not that what she was raised to value, but she finds it interesting, and she reaches out, picks up one of the glasses and examines it closely. And I'm wondering if maybe I could do a perception check to see if I find out anything about this glass that isn't normal. Like it might not be what it seems or something. Or if we've lost Josh. Oh no, I don't think that's a perception check.
Sorry, just had a cough attack. My apologies. That sounds more like investigation. Maybe history. I mean, you can perceive if a cup is the same or different, but based on how you described it, I would think one of those two would give you some sort of different information than a perception. But you can do that if you like.
Investigation sounds good. Of course, at disadvantage, we'll see how that goes, but... Aw, man, I have to give up the 16 for a 3.
So, I mean, you're not necessarily able to determine its, like, actual purpose or difference. You can just pretty much tell that it's not a wooden cup that you're used to drinking beer out of.
All right.
And behind the counter or the bar area, the bar, mind you, only stands maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall. And the space itself is large and rather grand, but they made it level enough for the people of the city. And the guy who walks you through the city walks you in and points over to the seats that are of like human stature. So, it's a bit bigger than some of the other tables and whatnot. But there only seems to be one of these tables in this room. So you all have to occupy the only table that seems to.
You don't get many visitors, do you? Two Rivers would just say, you don't get many visitors of different sizes here, do you?
The king has his days, and when the king wants to let people in, we do. When the king does not, we do not. Besides, this is not your average bar. As you can tell by the fact that there was no signage outside. And he walks off and he goes up to the bartender, and you can kind of see him talking, and he kind of just points over at you a little bit. And the bartender kind of slowly nods and everything. And then you see him going up to one of the wooden barrels that hold the beer, and he grabs the tray and has 4 mugs on it and pours beer for each of you. And then he taps over on one of these women that were there and passes it off and points at you. And the woman walks up and places these beers on the table. On the house, your meeting will begin soon. And she kind of walks away.
Katra will walk over
Go
to one of the... Sorry. Katra's going to walk over to one of the smaller chairs that the dwarves are sitting at, like one that's not occupied, and drag that over to the table so he can stand on that and get to the table.
With every drag.
Oh yeah, and he does it, and he doesn't even like pay any attention to the fact that he's making a bunch of racket.
Oh, that's funny.
And Nala, of course, is kind of looking at these chairs, and she kind of tests one and shakes it around to see if it's as spindly as it looks. But it is dwarven made, and she thinks maybe she can sit on it without it breaking. So she very gently sits down on this chair, which is obviously a couple sizes small for her, but while somewhat uncomfortable, it does seem to hold up underneath her. It's a good thing dwarves make things solid.
Two Rivers would just like sniff what was in what she said was beer, and just take a small sip of it. And does it taste like just regular beer?
It tastes like dwarven beer.
So probably quite a bit stronger than what she's used to. But it doesn't taste like anything odd, so she would just down it. She's like, well, at least something is normal here.
And as you guys kind of sit around, probably having a beer, you end up finding yourselves having 2, then 3, then 4, and still nothing. The guy who led you there seems to have disappeared. Never came back like he said he was. The crowd begins to kind of thin out a little bit. You see some of the people kind of throw some money on the table, look at you, and just walk out. And you notice that they're walking out the same way that the guy who led you there walked out. Or went to the back, as he said. And the bartender walks up to you. He takes his towel, tosses it over his shoulder. Starts, cracking his wrists and, cracking his neck. As he pulls over one of the seats and sits down. And as he sits down on it, he simply, slides his hand along the side of it. And it becomes bigger and bigger until it becomes a normal seat for him to sit down at the table with you guys.
I could have used that trick.
Alas, that is what happens when you are at the Leaping Stag. You take things at first sight and choose not to leap towards the future. But alas, you all were looking for me. And this man doesn't seem like a king. He doesn't seem like anyone, to be blunt about it. He seems just like your average Joe Schmo who, struggling like everyone else.
You're the king? I thought you were a bartender.
It is only right for a king to serve his people.
Oh, that's clever. I like that.
Why, thank you. And I hope you all enjoyed your beers. But alas, you have business with me, so shall we get to it?
Nala kind of looks at Two Rivers, the other two, and kind of hopes somebody's going to say something.
Two Rivers is looking. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Katra's still just sitting here nursing his beer and kind of very carefully just swishing it and taking a little sip and kind of like looking back and forth a bit. A little sheepish after what happened earlier.
Two Rivers is just like looking at the emptiness of her glass and just kind of puts her muzzle in a little bit and just kind of like licks up the last bits of beer that's left. And she puts it down and she looks at the king with kind of like wavering eyes, like she's not totally able to focus on him. And yes, we're here for or a kukum or what was that dang thing called? And she would look over to the others.
Ingot.
Was
Yes!
that adamantine? Adamantine.
Adamantine. What the short and the tall one said. We would like those, please.
Adamantine. And he kind of gets up and walks back over to the bar, and you can kind of see him grab this bottle, and almost between every finger and in the palm of his hand, he brings a small little cup back and gives it up one to each of you and sets one in front of himself and pours each one of you guys a shot of this liqueur that he had brought over. You are asking for me to give you all a piece of my city. The city that I began to carve myself. No less.
If
Let
it
us
wouldn't be too much
drink and
trouble.
we shall talk. And you
Yeah,
can
Two
kind of
Rivers would
see.
already reach over. Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Two Rivers would just already be reaching over and grabbing it and downing it.
Nala would take hers a little more slowly. It seems a very fine city. You started this yourself. And she wants to leave and just get him to talk.
Yes, but alas, we shall drink and then we talk. And he kind of holds it up to his mouth and waits for everyone else to drink theirs. And as everybody else drinks theirs, he puts his back on the table.
Nala just gives hers a little sip, though. She doesn't drink the whole thing.
Katra will, I assume it's strong.
It's kind of goes into the mouth smooth. But as soon as it like hits that neck, the alcohol in it, you can feel the sting of the alcohol.
Then yeah, it's basically Katra will take it, shoot it, and then just kind of go and cough at it.
And as he kind of puts his down, this man looks over and says, Those who try to take a part of the city must deal with the captain. But, you see, the captain is not here. But I am. And I will personally look into the gods who let you into this city. And that part kind of seems a little odd because he says this city instead of my city. But we shall see what you all say in the morning.
Nala
And
looks at him. She's like, "Are you even the king?"
but alas, and everybody knocks out.
Okay. I take it you're not allowing us a Constitution save.
You can, but I will be blunt about this, and it's going to be difficult.
Especially with disadvantage, but who knows? No, save throws don't have
Yours.
disadvantage with exhaustion, just skill checks.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's drank the whole thing, she's out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
think the
imagine that.
only person
11
is Carol that would have a chance.
Yeah, I don't imagine 11 would do much of anything, even with her high constitution included.
I will say that you maybe stay up for like an extra maybe second or two.
I was figuring being a huge Goliath and drinking a little less that it wouldn't affect her as strongly, but obviously this is some shit.
That it is. You'd be able to stay up for maybe a couple extra seconds, and you'll hear him say, "I am but a," and that's about it. And you all knock out. And as you all wake up, you guys feel cold, damp. The air itself seems to be musty and rather obnoxious at first conscious breath. And as you guys kind of open, you guys see rock formations all around you. There's like a prison cell type structure, but the door's open. And you hear the drip, drip of water from stalagmites or something dripping.
Do we still have any of our gear?
Yeah, you all have your gear. And that seems odd to you.
When Katra comes through, he's going to kind of sit up slowly and then realize a little bit of what happened and then sit up very quickly, jump to his feet, and draw one of his daggers and start looking around.
Do you have dark vision?
I do.
And that's only like white
dark
and gray.
It's black and white. What was that, Cameron?
I sorry, we all spoke over each other. I was just gonna ask, is it dark here?
Yeah, it's definitely dark.
Then the first thing Gorch will do is, he'll hear and see. I guess he's got dark vision as well. Katra kind of scuffling around, and so he'll kind of mumble something in a weird dialect and snap his fingers, and a little candle flame will appear on him. He's just going to cast Prestidigitation, just to try to give the others some light in case anybody else can't see.
Oh, thank you, Gorch. It's a wee tad dark here and all the stretches. Oh, nice. It's finally not too warm. I've been so warm. This feels good.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
River's just like muttering. Just like, stupid, creepy dwarf. Just, kissing the, stupid.
And I let him touch me, and look what that creep did. Ugh. I'm with you on that one.
When I see him next,
You hold him up, I'll hit him. I'll hold him up and you hit him. I don't know. We'll deal with it.
And as you kind of say this, you just hear like a tray drop. And you kind of start hearing a little bit of a pitter patter as he kind of like backs really slowly. Now, Katra and oh my goodness, Oh my goodness. Gorge, you're actually going to see that it is the same guy who took you to the Leaping Stag.
Where's he at in relation to us?
He's within maybe 20 feet because he was standing at the door with a tray. Now you can, it would probably be safe to assume that it was like food or something of that sort that was on the tray.
Would Two Rivers be able to lunge at him?
Do Tabaxi have dark vision?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'd say when the clang of the tray hit the floor, you would have turned around and saw him. So you can try.
Do you want me to just do like a dex or athletics? What are you thinking?
Athletics. That makes sense to me.
Oops, disadvantage. Oh. Do we still have our exhaustion?
No. Essentially, you guys passed out. Which I guess would qualify as technically a short rest.
Okay. That's a 12.
So I would say that you're able to grab the like linens on his like pants, and he like falls over. But as far as you actually like pouncing on him, no.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of still have him, but yeah.
Yeah, if he fell over, she would just like dig her claws into his calf and try and drag him into the space if she could, and then kind of calling out to the others. I got him.
So roll. I'm not sure if I want to qualify that as a grapple or an attack, because technically you're trying to. We'll say an attack roll to like dig your nails into him.
That's a 16.
All right, so yeah, you'll be able to at least be able to dig your nails in there. Where if he moves, he's definitely hurting himself pretty bad. As he like screams out in pain, and his screams echoing against the cave walls, I guess is the easiest way of putting it.
Katra will run over to assist. Dagger's out. And what's he doing as Two Rivers is dragging him down?
What are you doing to me? I brought you here, and this is what you do to me. And he, his voice going from like really deep tones to very high, agonizing like levels. He's definitely in some pain.
You brought us here, and you think we're going to be happy about it? This is a dungeon, man.
But you wanted access to the cave. How else was I supposed to do that?
Now it stops to think about that for a second. Because it is sort of access to the cave. What do you think, Two Rivers?
But we're still in prison. There's still no way out. How are we supposed to do anything in this cave?
But I had the door unlocked. And how else were you going to pounce on me if the door wasn't unlocked? By the way, I love your reflexes.
And he's back to being
check
creepy.
on him. Can I do an insight check on him?
You
Telling the
can.
truth?
You can. The question is, would you be like super freaked out at what he had said to you before you want to do this?
Be angry. She's a minute away from beard off, so. But she would still kind of just, because this is really interesting to what he had to see in Crew. Maybe. So, would you let me do that, or?
Yeah, go ahead. I was simply saying if you would impose some sort of backdrop to your own thing. That's all.
She got a 5. So clearly, what he. So.
Yeah, I mean, from what you can tell, he's being as sincere as possible. It's either that or you took his flattery more personal than you had originally thought you would. And he kind of, probably walks up to his tall Goliath friend and reach out his hand to hers. And it's all right. I will assist you in getting up, which obviously is completely impossible given his height and yours. But
She pretty much, gives a snort. I don't think I need a lot of help. Except maybe, what's going on here? I mean, what is this place?
Eavesdropping on your conversation. You said you wanted into the adamantine. The king would never allow that. The only way I can get you out of there was, regrettably, drugging the bottle.
What do you think, Katra?
Could I do an insight to see if he's lying about that?
Sure.
Oh God, they were -1. 11. No, I mean I have a -1 modifier. I got an 11 total.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out how -1 was possible. Was it like you rolled a nat 1 and you have a -2? You can probably notice there's something weird about what he said, but as to what specifically is wrong with what he said, probably not.
Katra will just say, Katra, no trust him. He lie. And he's going to basically not stab him, but like push the dagger into him a bit and like poke him. And like kind of a little bit intimidating.
Okay, so you want to intimidate him.
Sure.
So you want to roll an intimidation here?
Ooh. Nat 20.
Oh,
so 21.
Okay. Damn. Okay. So you're definitely able to probably draw out a little bit of blood. And he freaks out a bit. He definitely seems to be intimidated by you. Now, what exactly are you trying to accomplish by that intimidation?
I want him to tell us exactly what's going on and why all the ruse for it, basically.
Look, this cave, can you please stop twisting? And he kind of is like looking down as at the blade, and I almost assumed, like, subconsciously, like you were turning it a little bit in him. And he kind of grabs your hand and tries to, like, push it out. You want it into the cave. I got you into the cave. What else do you want? What do you want from me? And he kind of, like, shies away. Look, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be here. So I wouldn't push your luck with me. And you can kind of hear, like, cracking in his voice as he says this, because he's obviously intimidated, but isn't really budging on info.
You drugged us, so excuse us if we're not jumping up and down at your niceties. You could have told us something, and by the way, what do you get out of this? For helping us? No one does something for nothing.
As true as that might be, there are certain things that I would personally like to have cleared of the city. And I will do what I must to have that done.
What do you mean by have cleared? I don't really understand.
The city is filled with those who think so highly of themselves. All you must do is simply listen to the wind and you hear it. The trees don't lie.
Nala thinks to herself for a moment. She could pretty much peg this guy as one of the ones who thinks very highly of himself. She's like, how would you be different?
All you have to do is listen to the trees. And he kind of begins to back up, and he kind of begins to fade into, like, a bit of the darkness. And he just simply disappears from view. Unless any of you want to try to stop him. If you can stop him.
I would want to try to stop him.
Yeah, Cottrell will let him get away. If it comes down to it, Cottrell will try to trip him.
I think Nala would try to grab him. So, however you want to work that out.
I always forget. Strength controls grapple, right?
Yeah.
So do a strength check to see if you can grapple.
I mean, sadly, I'm extremely puny.
A Goliath, that's puny. Interesting.
Not really. But that's still only 12. It's not a fantastic roll. Oh, would you use athletics rather than plain strength?
Sure.
That's a strength-based. Okay, so that becomes a 14.
So I will say that you're able to grab maybe his hands the same way he tried to help you, the same way he had kissed you at first, where it's like the fingers and fingers. But as you kind of grab on, his hand begins to fade away almost into a smoke. As a rather weird fog begins to be added to the room. But hey, you guys are, from what you guys understand, exactly where you wanted to be in the first place.
Is the fog just in the room, or is it everywhere? Like room and hallway?
the hallway kind of goes. Oh, that's right. You have dark vision. From what you can tell, there's definitely some weird something in the hallway. So yeah, probably it would be the fog.
All right. Katra will just move up towards the door and keep an eye on the hallway for now.
How long does this weird misty fog last?
As far as the eye can see, I mean,
I'm thinking like in time if we were to wait. I guess we'll have to decide if we're going to wait, but Nala kind of wanted to examine the room they were in, but of course now it's all full of fog, so that makes it a little difficult.
I mean, you guys can always set up like maybe a short rest kind of deal, to kind of take some time to examine the room that you're in, see if the fog lifts and whatnot.
So no, I was going to ask. She's going to turn to her, she'll say, "Hey," she can't really see anybody, but that has to be some kind of magic. Do you think it will clear quickly? I'd like to look at the room now that we're alone. See if we can find any clues or tools or anything useful.
Katra will look at Gorch and just kind of shrug. Katra just learning arcane, not knowledgeable.
All right, so did everyone agree to kind of take a quick, short rest and take a actual break in reality? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then I guess we'll take a quick 5-er, depending on when everyone gets back, and then I'll think of what you find in this room through the fog while we do that. Real quick before everybody goes, Cameron, do you have to be gone by 9, right? Because tomorrow's a weekday.
No, not on a Sunday.
And tomorrow's MLK Day. I don't know if everybody has off for that, but I know I don't. All right, so then we shall continue after a quick break. Unless anyone has anything to say before we go. No? All right, see you all in 5. Hello, everyone. Oh, give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. Like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Hi, guys. Sorry, can't refuse to answer the call because then, they're parents. They can say things. Anyway, welcome back. Is everybody ready? Ooh, my bear. Giggity.
I would imagine that we're ready. I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I had to grab my Not Your Father's Mount Mayo.
Not your father's not male. Not male.
It is Mount Mayo. Anyway, all right, back to the story. Giggity. All right. So, as we kind of come back to it, I almost imagine you guys are walking around the area, the room, analyzing the wall, seeing if there's anything. Really, the only thing that you guys kind of notice is the fog thickens and then kind of goes away a little bit, then thickens and kind of goes away. The only thing that you're really able to find is some weird skeletons that don't seem to be of any sort of race that you guys are. So what exactly are you trying to find, Nala?
She was actually curious if there was any tools for mining or cutting rock or anything like that in case they needed to do any digging for any purpose. Just,
I'd say that one of them has a really, 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 really crappy pickaxe.
yeah, she's gonna stuff that in her pack just in case she finds use in a dungeon for a pickaxe. Just seems like it might be possible.
You never know. But after maybe 5 hours of kind of sitting around, not really doing much, if you guys want to wait that long, the fog begins to kind of clear up a little bit. It definitely is like lining the floor, like one of those really crappy made horror movies where it like lines the floor of it. And it's at least you're able to actually at least walk through it. What are you guys doing?
Kotra will start kind of scouting down the hallway and see if he can find anything. Yeah, just can I do a perception check as I kind of walk down the hallway, see if I notice anything out of place?
The only thing out of place is you guys in here. All right. But no, for the most part, nothing really seems to be out of place. Some of the rocks like give off a weird glow that kind of makes it somewhat easier for Nala to see every so often. But you guys end up going into this room, and it has like broken crates, and like it's very rustic in feel. The odor is of like a molded wood. The doors on the opposite side, there's one on the farthest left and one on the farthest right. They're made of wood and like trimmed with metal that has actual like gold swirls throughout it on the left one, and on the right one it's a stone door with wood that lines it with like bits of silver that line it. I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but that's the room that you're in.
Are these doors shut?
Yes, both doors are shut.
If Nala gives them a rattle, are they locked or would they open?
So which one are you going to first?
Just gonna look. What do you think we should try? Should I do the one with the silver or the one with the gold?
Are you asking the group?
Yeah, I'm asking the group. I don't think asking the DM would be too useful.
Katra likes silver.
All right, silver it is. So she grabs it and gives a rattle on the door.
So as you touch the door, you can definitely tell that it's unlocked.
Well, get ready. I think I'm going to open it. And she grabs her big old great axe in one hand and opens the door with the other one.
As you open it, there's nothing there except for stone. And when you open that door, you can tell that the stonework has 2 holes in it. And as you look into one of the holes, you know, because that's obviously the only thing that's there, all you get is a flash in the eyes. And as you step back blinded, give me a dex check.
I don't recall saying I was going to look in this hole, but okay.
Well, it's like at eye level. It's not
At Nala's eye level? That's a high up in the hole.
Mm-hmm. There's like one every 6 inches.
Gotcha. So this is
Just
okay.
a straight dex.
Straight dex. Okay, that would be 13.
The light begins to turn into fire. Essentially, a lightning bolt is coming out, and
nice.
you're gonna. I'll let you choose left or right.
Left.
So as you make your dex to the left, this lightning shoots out of it, and it hits the back wall from where you guys had come in, scarring that wall, but the lightning doesn't seem to go away. It's just a straight beam of lightning that doesn't seem to want to move.
I don't
blocking
know.
off about half the room.
Nala looks. I don't think I really like silver as much as I did.
Katra's going to try and close the door. Will it push shut?
No, it doesn't. The stonework seems to have been locked in place. Like you can jiggle it a bit, where you can obviously tell that you're strong enough to open or close it, but it doesn't want to budge.
Is it just the one beam, or is it multiple beams coming out?
Why don't you tell me? How do you picture it?
I'm seeing probably. I almost want to say it's going to kind of, because you said there's one every 6 inches. So I'm going to say it kind of like cycles, like it goes through the top one, then down, then down, then down, and it starts back at the top.
Okay. And with every different one that flashes, it's all different colors. It either is just a random lightning rainbow or some sort of code. Have I stumped my players?
Katra is going to go look at the gold door.
Be careful, Katra. I think by now maybe your vision's starting to come back.
Katra will chuckle a bit, and
She's going to go over beside the door so that if anything comes shooting out, it won't be shooting at her, but she's going to have her great axe ready in case something physical comes out that needs to be dealt with.
Is this door locked?
You jiggle the handle and it seems to be locked.
Are there any gaps in it? Like a gap between the doors so I can feel if there is maybe an airflow?
I'd say that you are. And there definitely appears to be air that flows through it, yeah.
All right, after seeing the previous door, I want to check for traps, and then I'll see if I can unlock it, if there's a lock mechanism.
All right, go ahead.
Is it perception to find traps?
Oh man, I was just reading that section of the DMG. Oh man.
I'm pretty sure it's investigation.
I think so.
Ooh, I'm proficient with that. Excellent. 18.
All right. Yeah, no, there does not appear to be any sort of traps.
And then is there a lock that I can actually access and try to pick the lock?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There is.
So Katra will kneel down and start pulling through his pack and pull out this little leather bundle, unroll it, and pull out a couple picks. And he's going to start picking at that lock. $17.
It takes you a little while. You guys are all in this room for maybe like 2-3 minutes before he's actually able to find the right combination of, clicks to unlock it. And as the door unlocks, the lightning that was shooting out from the other side begins to go the opposite way. So as it was going top, and working its way down, now it's going the opposite. And beyond the door, even to those of you who have dark vision, is just dark. Like, it's even darker than those who have dark vision to actually see. They can't even see. To put it in layman's term, you have one door that leads to darkness and one that leads to light.
Gorch will kind of inch forward toward the door that leads into darkness and hold out his hand with his little candle flame on it, trying to see if the light actually lights up as he starts going that way, or if the darkness just seems to swallow the light.
No, it doesn't seem to swallow it. The only light that you're able to see is that of what is in your hand. But everything around your hand and around that light is dark. Not even the little bit of light that you have shines bright enough to illuminate it. But you're still able to see that the light is there.
Okay, he'll back away then. I don't know. It seems kind of creepy.
Yeah, it does.
Katra no like this.
I hate this. This was supposed to be a simple job. Now we have to make these riddle-like decisions. Morality and whatnot.
And puzzles.
Ugh.
Was there anything in those boxes?
Like in the crates that were broken?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me?
Well, I have an idea, which is why I was asking you, because...
You don't want to metagame. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if... I'm getting an Indiana Jones kind of thing going on right now that I'm thinking of. So, I'm not sure.
I'd say... there's rotting food in one. Or rotten food. It's past the point of rotting. There seems to be sand in the other. And based on the amount of mold that is on the other one, you would have assumed that it was water at one point.
Okay. Nothing I was thinking of.
Nala looks at the rotting food. Ha! Gorch food!
Oh, man. Gorch, any response? Anyone want to do anything? I mean, realistically, you can either go back to your prison cells or pick one of the two doors to try to interact with.
I hate this. Let's just get it over with.
You know, I think maybe Nala will take that poor old pickaxe, walk over to the bricked-in door with the lightning come out of it. Can she, like, smack away at the side of it? Where not? I'm assuming this lightning is coming, like, in this vertical row of holes. And that maybe she could smack on the side and just, like, break some of it open. This is probably a really stupid idea, so if anybody wants to stop her, go right ahead.
I mean, you sure can try.
So
Two of us would just watch from a distance.
She kind of stands off to the side and swings around and whacks it good and hard with the pickaxe. Let's see what happens. What'll I roll for here?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, athletics for whether I break it or I don't know.
Well, I guess strength to see how much power you put into it. And then,
All right. Okay, we'll do that.
because I would think it would be strength to see if you break the stone that's there.
Okay, so that's 13 to hit this. See if it'll break the stone.
All right, and then do a DC 12 saving throw for your axe to see if it breaks.
Saving. What do I add to it, if anything, or just straight up?
What would durability be? That would probably be more. I really feel like I'm making this more complicated than I thought it would be.
That's okay. That's okay. You can make it straight up, or I could add acrobatics to it, or I don't know.
Yeah, just do it straight up.
Yeah, well then she fails. It breaks. That's okay. So she hits, and this pickaxe kind of just, maybe it makes some damage to the wall. I'll let you decide that. But the pickaxe itself falls apart.
I almost imagine she put so much force into it, like she doesn't know her own strength. And the stone begins to crack, but along with the amount of force that she put behind it, the wood itself breaks like when a baseball player hits a ball and it cracks.
Piece of junk. Does that actually make any difference to the wall other than a crack in it?
You start being able to see light forming in the crack from whatever was on the other side that's shooting this lightning.
Nala looks at that and she's like, I don't think this is such a great idea. We could just fill the room with lightning, huh?
Maybe darkness is the best way to go.
Well, I don't want to stay here forever, that's for sure. I don't want to be burnt up by the lightning.
Well, all right. I guess I'll do it. And with that, Two Rivers is just going to strut into the dark one.
Nala's going to go right behind her thinking, hey, I should go first. I'm bigger, I'm stronger. Of course, I can't really see in the dark, mind you. So she follows with her great axe at the ready.
So as you guys kind of go out, you hear like a ringing of a bell. And after the last one walks out, the door begins to close. And then light flashes and you're at a stairwell that leads up.
Is it only us two? Did Gorch and did they come?
I'll leave that to the two. Cameron, did you go?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are now at a stairwell that goes up, and you're behind you is a door that was closed. Behind you. The only way up to go is up.
Well, I guess we made a decision. Who would like to go first?
Nala looks at everybody. Is this stairwell lit or is it black?
Well, as the door closed, you heard the bell and like lights turned on. So you guys are able to see the fact that it's a stairwell and that it goes up.
Okay. So Nala's like, I'll go first. You guys can hide behind me and do what you got to do. I won't be sneaking anywhere though, unless somebody wants to scout.
Katra is scout. Katra can scout.
Yeah, I believe
Kind
that.
of asking as a question.
Yeah, Katra can scout, don't you think? She looks at the other two. We'll let you go a little ways ahead, and then I'll come up. I'll give you a head start.
All right. So, Katra, how far up are you going? You
So-
going up?
How far can I see it going up? Like, is it a short stairwell or is it a long one?
Well, it's a winding staircase. So it's kind of like it.
Okay. I'll probably go until I can't see them and then peek around and signal for them to come up behind me. The whole way I kind of want to like go back and forth on the stairs and kind of check it as I walk. See if I find any traps, anything like that. As this seems like a tricksy place. That would be a 23 investigation.
So there's obviously no traps that it seems to be on the stairs themselves, or like the walls that surround the walls or surround the stairs. It seems like a normal winding staircase. It doesn't really seem to be, anything more than that.
All right, then like I said, I'll kind of like slink my way up a few stairs until I can get out of sight of them, and then kind of go back around so I can see them and wave for them to come follow me, and I'll just kind of keep going at a kind of slow pace.
So as you guys just to skip over, you guys kind of go around and around, and it feels, based on how he's describing the pace, it takes you quite some time to get up there. But Katra, you're the first to see this. You see a ginormous doorway at the top of the stairwell. And as you guys, I'm assuming you're going to tell people that you do that, or that you see that before you actually investigate that. As you kind of come up to it, it seems completely different than the room that you were in before. Just from first glance, you can kind of see that there's at least 3 doors, and nothing in this room seems to have been here for long. It seems rather fresh, rather new. There's no spider webs or anything like that that would signal that this room has never been attended to.
Oh, I thought I was muted. I accidentally muted myself. Okay, so the door is open, and we can see into that room, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's dark, but you have dark vision, so I was just taking that into consideration.
Okay. What sorts of things are lining in the room?
There's tables, there's chairs, there's barrels that, who knows, might just contain ale. There's at least 3 doors from what you saw peeking around the corner. It just has a completely different feel to it than the room that you guys were in prior.
Does it look like a place where people would sit and eat, like a mess hall area?
I'll put it this way. It definitely looks well maintained. So if you think that it might be somewhere where people, that I'll leave that at your discretion as to what your character would feel in that situation, but it definitely does look well maintained.
All right. Cottrell will slink into the room and kind of go around the outside wall and make his way around the room.
So as you kind of go, give me an investigation.
That's just a 10.
So as you kind of make your way around, I almost imagine you starting to along the wall where the closest. And as you pass by each door, kind of going along the perimeter, you feel the air that kind of comes out of all of them. But then as you kind of are making your way around that last wall, you just feel kind of the same breeze as you did on the actual 3 doors, but you don't know where it's coming from.
I'll use my dagger and kind of... Is it a stone wall? Like a hewn stone, or is it a smooth stone wall?
It's smooth stone.
No edges, no creases?
I mean, where the bends are between the walls of the room, there are the indentations for where the 2 walls meet. Like I said, this seems very well maintained. More on the newer side compared to the room that you were in prior.
Trying to see if I had chalk. I was going to mark that spot and keep going, but I don't have any chalk, so...
Okay. So just because for the sake of time, you all are able to get up in there and whatnot. There are 4 of you and at least 3 doors, a 4th that, according to Katra, he feels but just doesn't know where it is.
Can Two Rivers check the barrels? You
Sure.
said? Yeah, just what's inside them.
So the first barrel that you open has a rather concentrated version compared to what you're normally used to of dwarven beer.
Okay.
Two Rivers,
And then the other ones?
Two Rivers, we're not here to drink.
Yeah, Two Rivers would, like, she would have her head, like, stuck into the barrel, and you can hear, like, the sound popping. The looks at you. Yes, sorry, I was looking for the door.
I don't think you'll find too many doors in the bottle of the ale barrel there.
You've seen this place. It's confusing. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I
Maybe
suppose you're right.
I'll check this ale barrel, see if there's a door in that one. She goes and looks at that one. Test to see what's in it.
But alas, inside there's a door. No.
It's not bad. Not a door, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. Inside there seems to be rather fresh oranges, and with those oranges, there's like mango and like all these, like, for where you guys are located would be like exotic fruits, because that's actually in like a completely different part of the continent.
Well, she's going to gather up some and put them in her in her provisions bag and hand them out to maybe eat one as they go. Oh, this is really good. Oh yeah, we gotta get out of here. You think there's a hidden door?
Katra feels a breeze, but Katra can't find it. And he'll show you where he's feeling it at and try and show you, like, do you feel it?
I would imagine I would. Could I use maybe nature to see if I can, locate the source of the breeze? Maybe by wetting my finger and holding it up and see which way the air is moving on it?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, that's no use. I rolled a 1, and my happy +3 doesn't go very far, does it?
So you're probably even more clueless than Contra was, as far as even feeling it. You'd probably be like, yeah, I mean, I felt it. I don't feel it anymore. I think you're crazy. Kind of situation.
Yeah. Gorsh, come over here. Maybe you can help us figure out what's going on. I didn't get too far. And she eats another orange.
At least take a look.
All right, go ahead and give me investigation or survival.
I rolled a 16, which gives me a 17 in total.
All right, so what you're going to notice is that along the wall where this wall is, that essentially doesn't have any sort of doors on it, all the barrels are all lined up against that wall for the most part. There's like literally one barrel in every square inch of it, except for 2 places where seems to be a barrel missing. And each one has, just for the sake of easiness for imagination purposes, each one has like the spade, the clover, the heart, the diamond, and it all follows the standard order. So obviously it's missing a spade and a heart in the order as far as the barrels are concerned.
Gorch will look around. Are there other barrels with those symbols on them?
Almost all of them have some sort of insignia on it, and each one seems to be like, as you kind of are like looking at the different barrels and whatnot, you're like, oh wait, that looks like, and then it has like an extra spike to it or something like that. There seems to definitely be like each one has mark. It's just a matter of finding the one that has the marks that you're looking for.
Well, Gorch will explain what he noticed with the symbols and say, anybody see the ones that look like they're missing?
I would assume at that point I would start looking at the different barrels and see if I could find anything too.
Yeah, same thing.
So, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, Two Rivers would too.
Okay. So it takes you a little while, and you notice, it takes you maybe about an hour or so to figure out the exact one, that we're missing. And as you kind of move the barrel, do you guys want to move the barrels back to the way that they're supposed to be lined?
Yeah. I think Nala would be good at that. So, someone could tell her where to go with them, and she can just pick them up and punk them down where they belong with no trouble at all.
And so, as you guys kind of realign all of them and put them back in the order, the room itself begins to, do that whole like dropping motion like that you feel in the elevator when you get to your floor. And then that wall begins to, lift up and come out of the floor. All the barrels of ale that you guys had placed seem to be going up with it, up until where the barrels of pretty much touch the ceiling, at which point it just rests there. And what stands in front of you is completely different than what you guys were expecting. You see the adamantine mine all the way in the different distance. The ingots lined up on one of those wheelbarrows. But between where you are and where rivers that line the mountain's cores, a path so narrow that every step is going to be difficult to take.
And what's not on the path? Oh, never mind.
Go ahead. Not on the path to the dark side?
Yeah, well, you're saying there's a path that's really narrow, but what's around the path? If we step off it, what happens? What do we see? Does it drop off, or is there something there? Or?
Yeah, so essentially they're like bridges over the and different areas of the room that kind of fill the room. Obviously, there's spaces in between the where you can walk and stuff, but the hair itself begins to heat up very quickly. Everything is heating up rather quick. The paths go over the lava, the magma. Magma. All right.
Oh, that's what's beneath it. Magma. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so you fall off, you fall into magma.
So the first thing that Nala's going to do is say, I've got a rope in my pack. Let's rope ourselves together. And let's get out of here. And do you think you guys think that she should go first or last as an anchor or in the middle or what?
Probably the two lightest ones should be in the middle. And maybe Nala and Two Rivers would be at either end.
That makes sense. And I'm relatively dexterous, so Nala says, perhaps I'll go first. We don't want to waste time. And so she's going to start out going up and down the paths with her tied up comrades following behind. So if one of them starts to fall, we can maybe help him back on the path before he turns into a crispy critter.
So give me. Oh man, I'm spacing on the check that I want to have done.
Acrobatics?
Acrobatics or dexterity.
Acrobatics. And that comes to a total of 18.
And you're in front, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'll work. You're able to kind of get halfway there. One more good one, and you should be there. So go ahead and do another one. See if you can get over the next lava river.
They wouldn't all be following along behind me one after another, or?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, but you're leader, so you're kind of like pulling everyone else. So everybody else's fate can rest in your hands.
That gives me a 13.
So, who was in back? Two Rivers? Give me dexterity saving throw to see if you slip after Nala's trippings.
I got an 11.
I got 11. So I'd say your feet falter. You haven't fallen over, but your feet definitely did falter over. And as you guys kind of walk over, you thought you were almost there, but you end up on another small little like plateau to kind of like rest after Nala's tripping over a rock or something that causes the two rivers to kind of, you know, lose her little way. So Nala, one more. And let's see if you lose an ally already.
Oh, no. This is not good. This is not... I'm sorry, guys. I rolled a 1.
Are you serious?
I am serious. So you know I don't cheat my rolls. I rolled a 1. I don't know what you're going to do with it. Maybe they can roll some strength to keep me from sliding in.
I'll say this. Both Carol and Megan give me saving throws for deck saving throws.
Okay. That's
Man, we might just be looking at the
That'd
end
be
of
all
our
of
campaign.
8.
Oh, man.
Oh, now she's
Saved
okay.
your life. All right. So as Nala kind of trips and over her own feet on the thin path, kind of almost falling headfirst into the magma river, your face comes within 2 inches of the lava. I will give you one of 2 options for you to choose from. One is a permanent scar on your face from the magma, or blindness in one eye.
Oh, I think that Nala's definitely going to get a serious burn on her cheek, and it's going to leave a big ugly scar on her right cheek. That just seems she could like a super sunburn, man.
And did you want any of your hair to burn off with it?
Oh yeah, some of my dense red cap of hair catches flame, and we have to beat it off once we get me back up on the path. Absolutely. So I've got this scorched right side of my head, and the hair's kind of sizzled and burnt almost down to the skin, and there's this big ugly burn on my cheek.
Awesome. So which one of you two is closest to Nala, Cameron, or Brandon?
I was gonna say me, because I would want to stay away from Two Rivers because I still don't trust her.
All right. So why don't you give me a strength check at advantage to see if you can hold your way or cause her to possibly scar her other side. Oh, don't tell me you got a nat 1 too.
You said I had advantage, right?
Yeah.
I got a 1 and I got a 2.
Oh, man.
I have a -2 strength, so that's a 0.
It was meant to be. I was just meant to not do very well in the lava pit. Let's face it.
Yeah, that is technically true. You being as big as you are was going to cause complications. I was hoping you were Anchor, but whatever.
In spite of having a decent dex, you know, it just is what it is. So yes, obviously I'm going to be sliding off the other side and burning the other side of my face.
Yeah, so I almost imagine as he like kind of grabs onto the string and pulls it, like it almost causes the whole like where like you're holding something, but it kind of falls, and then he just like kind of pulls, and it kind of just drags you to the other side and like burns. So you're burned on both your left and your right. But I'm not going to make anyone roll again because that's just going to be horrible because everybody has rolled horrible for this one.
It's not been good. Will I take any? I should probably take some hit point damage too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty badly burned all over my poor face now.
So take 2d8, 1 for each burn.
Oh, 2d8. Oh, nice. Oh, you might lose me yet.
Possibly.
Where's my other
I'll
D8?
do it. I'll do it. I usually suck at rolling when I actually want to. So I got a 3 and a 1, so you take 4 points of damage. And so then you're, kind of as he like pulls you and kind of, drags you along, you're able to grab onto the rope and pull yourself up, almost pulling all 3 of your comrades off the ledge in tow, but you're able to kind of at least grab your footing and hand by hand and foot by foot crawl to the other side.
Basically, I can see me kind of like moaning and crying as I go because burns hurt.
Yeah, you got to get some silver nitrate in your life. But now you stand at the base of a wheelbarrow filled with adamantine ingots.
Now we were going to have some strange healing things in this game too, weren't we?
Yep, healing spells cost twice as much. Herbalism and things like that actually do actual hit points versus stability.
Right. Okay. But anyway, they're full of ingots. You guys decide what to do. I'm going to just have to think about this. I don't know that there's much that Nala can do for herself in this instance.
So Katra will make his way over to the wheelbarrow. And you said there's a bunch of ingots in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll pick up one, kind of look at it, try and find a nice one, good size. Looks like there's a lot of usable ore in there, and pocket it. And if no one stops him, he'll take another and another. And he'll end up taking like 3 or 4 extra.
I could see you coming and sticking a couple of Manala's pack because, she can call just about anything.
And you kind of are able to do so. And, I'm almost imagining that he just keeps running back and forth to everybody's pack and, trying to pocket as many as he can. And once he can't put any more in his, he'll go over to the next person and put it,
Yeah, so I'll give everyone a handful.
You're putting all of these in your packs and everything, but there doesn't seem to be a door. There doesn't seem to be any way out of here. You have what you're looking for, but the overarching disappointment and despair of realizing you've come all this way, you have what you want, you have no way of actually getting it to where you need to get it. Or at least based on what you see.
A sudden, low growl would come up from Two Rivers. But she would begin to, frantically look around for some type of exit. Maybe do an investigation.
Sure.
Excuse me. That is, thank you. That is a A 7 on investigation.
I almost think that the fact that like you were looking around and everything, but the fact that you almost just died kind of like rushes back into your brain, and it just completely distracts you from investigating anything actually further.
And she would look to the two and just say, "You guys are small. Have a look around. There must be a way to get out of here." And she would go over to Nala and kind of start to maybe help her, like just take a look at her, see how she's doing.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts a lot.
Gorch will start making his way around the area and trying to look at stuff as well. We find it. We see if there's a way out.
You kind of walk around a little bit. I almost think because of your size, you're kind of able to like walk along these paths that, you know, two of the people obviously didn't really survive all that well from. And you're doing it with ease. Like, I don't see what the big issue was in the first place, but whatever. But everything seems weird. You hear the occasional noise that kind of sounds like a cough. And, you know, if you really pay attention, the ground itself feels like it shakes a little bit. And everything around you kind of moves. And from above, there's this gap. You can tell because there's a difference in like rock formations. And from that, you begin to hear the slow clap. And as this man walks forward, his crown almost half his own size. His armor flows outwards and kind of like folds inwards where he still has full range of his arm, but it guards the joints of his body. And he stands at this, his arms falling forward onto the rock formation that's at between, you know, before the drop off. Welcome to Moldor. And I mean, this guy looks like a king. He has everything.
Does he look like the same guy we saw at the bar?
No.
Does he look like Daryl?
Yes.
Two Rivers would begin to hiss very loudly, like the hackles just like raising on her neck.
No, it's like, easy, Rivers. We need to find out what's going on. And she turns to the dwarf in the king's regalia. Are you the king?
And he says nothing. He says, you came here for a reason. You have it. Take the one, and he kind of looks over at Katra, and go. Because you four have been destined to take the hard way through life. The path that you took is a representation of your future. Though things may look rugged and broken, and darkness seems to take you to better things, when it came down to it, just because it was easier doesn't always mean that it doesn't come at a cost. You, and he points over at Nala, this is a permanent mark that will define the rest of your life. Simply because you took the easy route. The first room you were in, and he kind of just like goes into this big monologue. I'm going to try to point out key points. The room you went into, that you chose darkness over light. If you simply had looked in when the lights were not there, you would have noticed that there was just a simple button to press to open the door. And once you opened the door, there would have been exactly what you wanted. Plain, simple. All you had to do was be brave enough to take the route. But out of fear, you ran to darkness, only to suffer for it. Be brave in times to come. And when the time comes, you will be brave.
Nala nods at him.
Now
Point
take
taken.
the one that you need and go. Then a door opens for you all to walk out. Unless you guys want to say anything or whatnot, you can walk out.
Nala's actually going to say thank you. Because he allowed them to take the one that when they needed and to go. And she gives him a bow and removes any ingots that got in her pack. I assume everybody removes all their extra ingots and we take one. Very chastened.
And as you all take them out, I almost imagine that, you know, at least Nala, if not Katra too, for being called out for their deeds, look back up at Daryl in like a grateful but distasteful look for what essentially he put you guys through in order to simply let you have exactly what he planned on letting you have to begin with. And next to him, you guys see the same old lady that you saw in the market.
To an extent, though, being a Goliath and very much appreciating a competition, and particularly one that's even, you know, a difficult competition, Nala has a respect for him now that she didn't have before. That's why she thanked him.
Two Rivers would just be eyeing him really disdainfully. I think unlike Nala, she doesn't really appreciate being scolded as a child, which I think in this case she feels like she has. She just kind of mutters. She's just like, I should have sheared you when I had the chance. Still kind of like all hissy.
But you didn't. And because you didn't, you are still alive now. And
Well, that mistake won't happen again. She just kind of just wanting to get in like a last jab.
Mm-hmm. And if this was like an actual movie, like it would flash back to like different positions of like the conversations that you you had with him and like the walks that you've gone on with him, and it'll show like archers and like assassins like throughout the crowd that were like following you guys through, and like as far as thematically, like that would be what would be going on in that point in time. And then he just, it would come back to the scene and he'd just simply turn around and walk away. The lady that you had seen in the market district still there, staring off at you all.
Gorch will wave at her. Hi, old lady. Who are you?
She simply gives like a light smile and waves, and you see her mouth moving. And she turns around and walks out.
Well,
It all feels so surreal. But you guys are able to leave, and the door that was open for you essentially leads out of the city. And after the last one of you guys walk out, the passage closes back up, and you guys are outside of the city at the same woods that you walked out of in order to get to the city. So now is apparently time to go back home or complete your mission.
Well, let's just go back. He should be paying us double for what we went through.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Katra will just say as we're walking out, Katra no like dwarves.
That was an odd lot, Katra. That was strange. And I assume that Nala's probably got bandages on her face, so she's got this like white bandaged face and this kind of frizzled hair sticking up the top. And she thinks a lot as she starts heading back towards where they started.
Katra will point up towards your face and just kind of, sorry.
Oh, it is what it is. A good scar can be honored in the Goliath Society. I'll have a story to tell with it for sure. Even if I'm kind of the brunt of the joke there.
Just out of character, I think we should take a rest before we go heading back out. It was a trialing night.
Yeah, if we could find a place to rest. Do we get back hit points on a rest? How does that work in our decisions? I don't really remember everything. We roll a hit dice.
I mean, short rest and long rest. I don't think we changed. We just simply made like healing potions cost more in like trying to use nature to heal.
So we'd be able
something more.
So we'd be able to take a rest, maybe a long rest even, because that was brutal. And roll a hit die.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's not, of course, in every game I play.
Did you guys need to take a extra break at all, seeing as you guys are taking a short to long rest in the game? I mean, I don't really
maybe we were about done for the night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that once we come back, we have more than like 20 minutes or so, maybe 25 before calling it anyway. But I wasn't sure if people had, personal things that they had to release. That's all.
I don't need another actual break at this time.
Okay.
But I think
Cool.
Nala needs to rest up a little. She's feeling pretty rough. Even though that's not a huge amount of hit points lost. She doesn't have very many at this point. For level 1
Yeah.
gumps.
And I know it's not necessarily going to be necessarily. I'm going to make this very clear. It's not going to be necessary for the rest of the session, but you guys can level up now. So that way I can have it live that I said it, so that way I can remember it for next session.
Okay, so we'll be level 2 in the next session.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh. But you guys are able to take a long rest. I'd say, nothing really happens while you guys are resting, especially being so close to the outer walls of the city and the, dwarves who have like perimeter duty and whatnot. It's rather uneventful. So you all are able to get some rest, and you guys begin to head back to Satin, where you were first given the mission, and the trip back seems almost twice as long as it did to actually get there, which is rather weird, but you make it nonetheless, pretty much out of rations and water by the time you get there, but you're there. Your mouth is probably being rather parched, but still there. You guys get back to the Black Staff. And I mean, that you got to go up 4 levels in order to get back to Lucian's office. So you guys go in. You pass the first bar, go up 2 levels. 3rd level is the 2nd bar. And then you go up 1 more. And now you're on his level. And as you kind of walk up, you hear him talking. Yes, no, I understand. I understand, Surreal, I understand. This is just all so surreal. And as you kind of like walk up, there doesn't appear to be anyone else in the room. And as you walk in, he smiles and recognizes you all. So you were able to convince the putrid king to release an ingot from his secret stash. I was honestly kind of hoping you stole it. But alas, whatever. Thank you. And he kind of reaches out for it.
And he will see if he looks at Nala, the 2 big puckered skin, kind of almost oozing places that she'd just recently taken the bandages off to dry out from their trip home. And she said, "We paid for it. Where's our money? Where is our pay from you?" Because he still owes them some money.
Gotta be bad. It's on the counter. 1 bag for each of you. And the ingot?
Not until we count the gold. I paid too much for this to give it up lightly.
Who is carrying the ingot, by the way?
I kind of think Nala would be. Just because it would be really hard to get anything away from her. That would be,
I'm fine with that. I was just curious who had it.
That was just my thought.
You'll take the gold, and you give me till tomorrow, and I'll have something that permanently fixes the burns.
Then I'll give you till tomorrow before I hand over the ingot.
That won't work. You see, in order for me to do it, I need the ingot.
She looks at her who were her adventuring companions are rapidly becoming her friends. She's like, what do you guys think?
Can I do
Count
like
the
an
gold.
insight check?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good plan.
It's a 16.
Yeah, no, he's telling the truth. Or at least to his understanding, he's telling the truth.
She's like, Contra, count all the gold, would you?
Katra count. Is it all there?
I mean, it appears to be.
Is it all real gold and not some sort of fakery that we're kind of...
I mean,
Katra
it all.
bites the gold? Is it real gold?
Is it illusionary gold? I mean, in this crazy mess, you can't trust anything.
No, it evaporates into dust, and you all are sworn. But I don't know. No, it's all real.
Okay. So I guess she's going to agree to take the gold, give him the ingot, and then come back the next day in hopes of him being able to heal the scars on her face. Even if she still has scars, they're still sore and, a little oozy and not too comfortable at this point.
Yeah, so you guys end up probably asking for a room to stay the night, seeing as, Lucian has something for you in the morning. The guild simply states, because of the fact that you are not guild members, they cannot necessarily facilitate you staying on property. However, they do work with an inn that's on the outskirts of the city that will not charge you for the evening, seeing as you are guild sent. At which point, he bangs against a plate against something, and this young lady walks out, and the bartender at the front table has her ask her to escort you to the prancing pony, and they should be able to assist you. And so you guys leave. Do you guys want to leave with her, or do anything special before you leave? I don't necessarily want to take away creative freedom here.
Yes, let's go. I need a drink.
I could use one too tonight. Nala's ready to go. She's pretty tired of all this.
So
Katra
as you
might
guys-
have a drink too.
Mm-hmm. The prancing pony is like a bar tavern, so it's the same thing like the Black Staff, but just for non-guild affiliates. So she walks you guys out and walks you across the city. And upon coming to the prancing pony, you begin to see the orb of the Black Staff to begin to glow. And sparks kind of shining out here and there. But you're not from this city, so you don't know if it's normal or not. But then you get escorted into the prancing pony, and they give you a bed for the night. So as you guys did, and you guys are able to drink and whatnot, did you guys want to do anything before you guys call it a night for the night till the morning?
Are we sharing rooms, or do we each have our own room?
Yeah, each of you can have your own room if you guys prefer, or you guys can all stay in one room.
I'm good with either.
I'm for simplicity purposes, you guys can stay in like your own room, but it's like big enough for all of you. If that makes it simpler.
Sure.
All right. So you all go to sleep for the night. And in the morning, it just simply smells like smoke. And you hear thunder, but it's not thunder. It's 2, maybe 3 times as loud. And it happens every 15, 20 seconds. The first time you heard it, you just thought, hell, you were dreaming. Maybe you were falling in a dream and you got startled awake. Then the second time it happens, and the overwhelming smell of smoke begins to fill the room. It begins to become a little bit warmer and warmer. Essentially, the prancing pony is on fire.
I would imagine that Nala, as it got warmer, would actually start to have nightmares of having her face burned. It would, when she isn't really fully awake and she's not fully asleep and she's thrashing around with this sort of nightmare. And she's like, she's calling out in her sleep, it's burning. Oh, my face. And she wakes up and realizes there's smoke all over and that it is burning. And so she's going to start to evacuate, obviously. And she's going to go through and I don't know what her comrades are going to do, if you guys are going to wake up at the same time, or if Nala's going to come and help anybody that doesn't.
So you guys are all able to leave if that's what you want to do out of the prancing pony. Just a quick head nod. Everybody want to leave the prancing pony, the building on fire? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except that, Nala's going to help anybody that's having trouble getting out. She's going to kind of check and help and make sure that people don't get burned alive in there after having her face burned. She's pretty sensitive to that.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, you all bust out of the prancing pony. Nala with probably 2-3 people like stuffed under her arms, as she kind of like ran by them, picking them up and tossing them around, so that way they're able to all get out. And the sky itself isn't the normal blue; it's actually a rather red. It's filled with reds and oranges, and the city itself is in ruins. The stonework, the woodwork, the laughter, the children crying, yelling and screaming for their parents. The smell of smoke filling the entire city. The black staff being a pinnacle of the entire city, still standing. But the orb itself has turned black. What was once clear, that was filled with light for the city, now runs black as the sky runs red. You can tell that off in the distance, the walls that guarded the city itself have fallen on the opposite side. And what lie in front of you was what was once woods is now water. What was once crop is nothing but dirt. The corn stalks and the wheatgrass and everything burned. Everything is going to hell. The ingot that was brought on the sake of hope has now been the exact cause of everyone's despair. And that is where we will leave off tonight's session. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a fun little episode, and now we shall start to see the Armageddon that our players have brought to the world. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and you all have an amazing night. Thank you for watching RPG Enlightenment. May you only seek enlightenment.